know how many times you use the internet on a daily basis, whether it's through your phone, your computer, or your online gaming device. Think of all the passwords, the financial information, and all the other things you don't want anyone else to see. Now imagine that someone that you don't know is logging that information and gathering important information about your personal online habits. Sounds pretty scary, doesn't it? I want to talk to you guys about net neutrality today and what certain impacts the recent decisions by the FCC might have on our personal privacy. In this day and age, almost all of us are reliant on the internet in some way, shape, or form to accomplish the most simple to the most complex of tasks. Especially as college students, we use the internet to complete almost all of our assignments. I'm no different than any of you guys. I'm almost most certainly reliant on the internet to keep my life more convenient, less complex, and more organized. I also trust that when I use the internet, all the things that are on there, all my information will be kept safe from me and from me alone. In this speech, I would like to explain what net neutrality is and how it protects our privacy. I will explain the problem with the recent FCC repeal on net neutrality laws and what caused this decision to be made, as well as how we can solve or overcome this change. I would also like to persuade you all that this recent repeal on FCC net neutrality laws could be bad not just for us personally, but for our country as a whole. So what is net neutrality? Net neutrality is the principle that internet service providers should enable access to all content and applications regardless of source and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. Under the principles of net neutrality, internet service providers are unable to intentionally block, slow down, or charge money for specific websites and online content. In 2017, the FCC voted to repeal many of the laws protecting the net neutrality which were passed during Obama's presidency. This decision reflected the new Trump administration, as well as the new FCC chairman, under which unregulated business will eventually yield innovation and help the economy. This decision may have a drastic effect on the way we view internet privacy as we know it. So what does this all mean for us? This means that one morning when you're looking at your favorite news site to look at the news tabloids, you may see a blocked tabloid prohibiting you from actually getting on that website. It means that every time you access Amazon to look for a product or any other online retailer, you may get a message saying that it's targeting you for specific ads. This information is being sold by advertising companies and used to target you specifically. It means that the information you consume online on a daily basis is not unbiased, but instead reflects the views of your internet service provider. It means your internet service provider can essentially blackmail you. And also, finally, it means that your right to say what you want to say inside the internet or outside could be stripped from you by a group of corporations that by then have harnessed so much power they can effectively rewrite the freedoms that were guaranteed to us by our founding fathers in 1789. The 2017 election of Donald Trump into presidency marked a drastic change in the way we saw internet privacy. Following Trump's election, FCC Chairman Thomas Wheeler stepped down from his office. In 2015, Thomas Wheeler led the commission to approve a set of rules under Title II regulations that basically placed broadband service under the same rules that govern landline telephone numbers as well as other public utilities. Upon Wheeler stepping down, Trump immediately appointed Ajit Pai, a former Verizon lawyer as well as a proponent of light touch regulation. Pai quickly got to work laying down the groundwork for repealing all the constraints on ISPs or internet service providers. 5 weeks after being appointed into office, Pai made a statement at Barcelona's Mobile World Congress stating that the FCC had made a mistake in enacting net neutrality laws relating to lower infrastructure spending over the preceding 2 years. In December 2017, the FCC voted 3-2 to overturn those Title II regulations and becoming the oversight for the broadband industry. Tasked with stopping anti-competitive activity as well as protecting consumers against contract violations, but it won't enforce the same protections as the original laws had already enforced. The control that internet providers will be able to exert over our privacy is not only shocking from a private standpoint, but also from a constitutional one. If these activities are engaged in by internet service providers, it will essentially undermine our First Amendment rights under the Constitution, which is free speech. This is important for students like all of us that access the internet on various different ways for all of our various different classes. Could you imagine a world where you might be charged for accessing a certain website or even blocked from entering it altogether just because it doesn't agree with the regulations that your internet service provider has? At this point, the effects of the 2017 repeal on net neutrality laws are just beginning to take place, so the change must start at the ground level with each one of us. The only help at this point right now is to reach out to legislature and try to get laws put in place that override this repeal. There are various ways to reach out to your congressman and legislature. Online, you can find office numbers and also mailboxes where you can either send them a voicemail or send a personal letter to urge them to speak out against this change. Regardless of what method you choose, it is important that we reach out and urge the legislature to create new laws to protect us from the implications this repeal might have on us. There are also such websites as battleforthenet.com, which offer a platform for us to speak out to legislature and encourage them to sign the CRA, which is the Congressional Review Act, which supports net neutrality laws and can actually counteract these repeals that happened in 2017. So over the course of this speech, I've explained what net neutrality is, the problem that the 2017 net neutrality repeal by the FCC poses on us, as well as the cause and effect of that problem. I also presented potential opportunity for solution through contacting Congress and urging for the signing of the CRA. If you'd like to learn more about FCC repeal in 2017 or even previously before that, you can contact reputable news sources and look at many different articles on the FCC or internet service providers. The FCC also has a personal website that you can access where you can look at all of their previous and current rulings regarding internet service providers, the repeal on the FCC ban, as well as just anything regarding net neutrality in general. So although the repeal of net neutrality laws may have a positive impact on our global and regional economy, it is not worth the massive detriment that it would impose on our personal privacy. At the moment, it is up to us individually to speak out in pursuit of change. Thank you.